Joining us now to discuss, director at MRCTV, Eric Scheiner. Thanks so much for joining us, Eric. It's great to have you back.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. So what did you think about this very interesting edition of The View?
Well, you know, they asked him a question, and then as he tried to answer, they peppered him and interrupted him, with more questions and making comments. And then he finally gets a chance to respond, and oh, it's time for a commercial break. I'm not saying they purposely played it out that way, but that's the way it played out. And, he was back on, he said himself, to answer some comments that they made about him last time when he made his announcement. And, he said, holding me up as an example, as an exception to, this systematic racial injustice that's embedded in American society. He's like, I'm the exception, and you guys say no. He's like, this is a dangerous and offensive message that you are giving to young people, and this is why I'm here, is to combat that and let people know, I really believe that we can do that in America. So it was interesting the way the format came out. I think he handled the situation about as well as could possibly be expected.
Yeah, I think he handled it incredibly well, and it's just sad to me that he comes on there and speaks all this truth, yet they just set him up and try to make him fail, and it was just a recipe for disaster ultimately. But I thought he did a great job at handling it, and even agreeing to go on the dang show. I mean, I don't think you could pay me to go on The View, but that's just me. Anyway, more mainstream media madness. Former FBI Director James Comey joined Jen Psaki and had some very interesting remarks. Let's check that one out.
Well, think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. I'm sure I'm on the enemies list, because the president constitutionally does oversee the executive branch entirely, which includes the Department of Justice, prosecutors and investigators. And so he could direct that individuals be pursued. He could also direct all kinds of other conduct that people would maybe take to court to try to stop. But who enforces court orders? Mm-hmm. Mostly the United States Marshals Service, which is part of the executive branch and reports to the president. And so President Trump could say, I don't care what the Supreme Court says or these district judges say. I'm telling the Marshals Service, don't enforce the court order.
Is it just me, Eric, or did he just explain exactly what's happening right now?
It comes across that way. Imagine a system where power is abused by, an administration. You look at this, and it's not just what it's not just what he's projecting that Trump could possibly do in the future. I mean, look what's going on now. And this isn't just with, political officials. This is with things like the DHS looking at the Christian Broadcasting Network and PragerU and all these other organizations, Turning Point USA, as possible domestic terrorist threats. We have the FBI going into churches, looking at people that go, Catholics that go to the Latin Mass as possible extremists. This is what is happening currently under the Biden administration. And don't forget, he was vice president under Obama when you saw journalists, being put through DHS scrutiny and being put on, collaborators lists. And you had the pulling of the AP records. You had the IRS and Lois Lerner, cracking down on conservative organizations and Tea Party groups. We've seen what happens when government cracks down and turns against people. And he's saying, this will be retribution. It's kind of been going on now.
Yeah, it really is. I think all of these people are just hiding in plain sight, and they're telling you exactly what they are doing. We've seen it time and time again. But while we're talking about corporate puppets, Chuck Todd is leaving Meet the Press. I guess Newsbusters put together a very nice goodbye highlight video. Let's take a look at that.
This gets at something, Dean, that my executive producer likes to say is, hey, voters want to be lied to. Sometimes they don't always love being told hard truths. I'm a journalist. I have to deal in facts. I deal in facts. There's a lot of scientific research out there that says gender is a spectrum. Was it a decades-long assault on science and objective facts, particularly by some on the right? Are you confident that you know that gender is as binary as you're describing it? You have one party that has decided that the Second Amendment is almost a religious tenet. If you're upset about extra IRS agents, stop cheating on your taxes, Congressman.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.